All right, y'all. We are here. We are live. We have breaking news coming in from um, Iran. We got new footages of Iran. Yeah, we got. Before we start today, make sure y'all, if y'all haven't done it yet, drop a subscription and a like. Um, but got some big news. Confirmed that they're killing thousands of people in Iran. Um, the Trump administration has got their eyes on Iran right now, so I believe we're going in. Not 100% sure, and that's not a autistic, or I'm sorry, a 100% good answer if we are or not. I'm 70% sure right now that we are. It's about to heat up, y'all. It's about to get real. We're about to see why we're the United States. Literally, Iranians is begging Trump to come. They need to. They're killing all kinds of innocent kids, women, children. But
All right, Madeline Rivera, live for us in Washington. Maddie, thank you. Let's bring in former Deputy National Security Advisor and Heritage Foundation Vice President Victoria Coates. Victoria, good morning. It's great to see you. Let's start with this latest information that Maddie just mentioned about what Iran's foreign minister is saying today, that protests in the country are actually, quote, under control, and they are now working to restore internet access across Iran. Are you buying that?
Well, good morning, Carly. Good to be with you. No, not at all. I mean, this is the third week of protests. This is the most sustained protests we've seen in Iran since 1979. This is in no way under control. But the problem that the mullahs have is every day they have the internet shut down, costs them billions of dollars. That essentially shuts down their economy. So eventually they have to start turning it back on, or else they're simply going to run out of money. So this is more on them than it is some kind of acknowledgement that they're in control of the country. I think what we need is more sustained pressure. President Trump has done more for these protesters than any American president in history already, and he's prepared to do more.
So when you say sustained pressure, that begs the question, what does come next? Here's the president on that. Listen.
Definitely need to do more. Definitely need to get things. Oh, sorry about that, y'all. Definitely need to get things in order so we can go in and actually start getting the heads of the regime. The Iranian people have been under this regime for 40-some years, dude. It's time for them to. It's time for them to get a break. Sorry about that. It's more than just them. They're killing soldiers or anything. They're killing little innocent people, kids, women. I mean, they're killing families off, literally massacring them in the streets and stuff.
Well, if they do that, we'll consider things targets they wouldn't believe. If they do that, we will hit them at levels that they've never been hit before. They won't even believe it. I have options that are so strong. So I mean, if they did that, it'll be met with a very.
Now, when he says he has options that are very strong, you best believe he does. Let me see if I can pull it up. We have a my bad. We have a news, or I'm sorry, not news, but on X. Let's see if I can pull it up. It says Venezuela's security guard has shared a chilling account of the U.S. military operations to capture President Nicolas Maduro, claiming that U.S. Delta Force used sonic weapons during the raid. The Guard described the operation as a massacre, starting that the U.S. forces overwhelmed Venezuelan troops with just 20 soldiers. Just 20 soldiers. Okay? Using advanced technology and a sonic weapon that incapacitated the defenders. The Guard's account include hearing a loud boom before the U.S. forces arrived, followed by the incapacitation of Maduro security personnel. The Guard's description of the intense sound wave and the resulting injuries has sparked speculations of discussion about the use of sonic weapons in military operations. One thing I want to do is I want to thank our troops. They haven't been thanked enough for their actions the past couple of weeks, or should I say, past couple of months, should I say. Hats off to y'all. Thank y'all for everything that y'all do for us. Keep up the good work. Definitely. And let's go give Iran a hand. They need it. Definitely. Let's get this broadcast out there so we can actually start getting more people up in here, so we can actually start giving news updates when they actually come in. Let's start sharing this. Let's start getting this channel popping a little bit. All right, so we can actually start getting more out there. That way we can get. I want to be able to actually give y'all gifts and everything else on here. So I'm trying to get that unlocked for us so we can actually start doing it. But anyways, let me but I got to tell y'all one thing. It's getting really, really crazy.
Very powerful force.
The president speaking there in generalities. We'd like you to address the question with some specifics if you can. What should the president do, and when should he do it?
Well, he'll have a range of options, Todd, but what he's demonstrated with the action against Nicolas Maduro is we have capabilities the mullahs in Tehran can't even imagine, and they know that. And what's more is we have a partner in the region that can also reach out and touch them anytime. That's Israel. And so we have this range, as I said, of options that can be implemented against leadership. We have additional technological options that we can use to get internet access into the protesters if they continue to shut down the internet. So we are going to look at that range. But what's also really critical about the president's options is he has already demonstrated that he will use them. The B-2 bomber strike in June showed that he will use kinetic American force. Now, at the same time, he's saying, I will negotiate. If they want to talk, he'll talk. But if they refuse to come to the table and stop this horrible persecution of the free Iranian people, then he's going to strike them. And they know that.
You know, Victoria, one of the things that I was wondering about, the fact that we know that the president is meeting with top officials tomorrow and some of the options that are on the table, that's all been publicly reported. What do you think about that being made public? A lot of people will learn about this with deep interest, but does the public reporting on this undermine what the administration can do moving forward?
No, I don't think so, Carly. I think what it does is it signals to the Iranian regime that they're very serious. Now, what they discuss in that meeting will rightly remain secret, and that's as it should be. But for the regime to know that the American administration is meeting all of the senior people, all the people, I might add, who planned the Maduro operation, are getting together and discussing these options, that's a big warning to them that they should stop this crackdown. They should start to look at liberalization, ways that they can give the Iranian people their freedom, give them a voice in their government, or else something much stronger is coming.
From Iran to Cuba, President Trump says the administration is talking with Cuba, hopes to strike a deal. That said, Cuban leadership remaining defiant, saying we are a sovereign nation, don't mess with us, we will fight till the last drop of blood. What does a deal with Cuba potentially look like? Because, again, maybe this is the jingoistic Todd in me, but it seems like we have all of the leverage here, and we can basically get Cuba to do whatever we want. Your thoughts, Victoria?
We definitely should. Now, President Diaz-Canel, the post-Castro president of Cuba, is no improvement on the Castros. He is also a communist. He's also bitterly anti-American. And bear in mind, Todd, this is 90 miles off the shores of Florida. So this is much, much more proximate to the United States. This has been a horrible problem since the late 50s for the United States. So the fact that we could actually make a change in Cuba is a huge deal. It's very important to a lot of Americans that this situation turned from being a horrible enemy of the United States to potentially a great friend. So the economic situation there is horrific. They've just lost their great patron in the form of Venezuela. So this is a time when I think we can really reach out to the people of Cuba and the American community. The Cuban American community can do so much to help them. And this should not be a huge, heavy lift to get the island into a much better place, get rid of the scourge of communism, and again, as I said, turn them into a friend of the United States.
Yeah, and if you're a Cuban leader, learn from Maduro, learn from Soleimani. If the president says, take a deal, make a deal, you better take that deal and negotiate. Victoria Coates live for us this morning. We thank you. We appreciate your time as always.
Massive deadly protests erupting in Iran as President Trump sends a warning to Tehran, saying the country is starting to cross the red line. How will the U.S. respond? Aisha Hasni joins us now from the White House with the latest. Good morning, Aisha.
Good morning to you, Charlie. So the president says that Iranian officials actually called him over the weekend, called the White House, trying to negotiate, but it might be too late. The Wall Street Journal is reporting the president is going to get briefed tomorrow by some briefers on potential responses to Iran, including more sanctions, cyber attacks, and even military strikes. He is not expected to make a final decision immediately, though. The briefers are Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff Dan Kane. Now, Trump told reporters on his way back from Mar-a-Lago last night that he is looking at some very strong options.
On Iran, can they cross your red line yet to trigger a response?
Well, no, they're starting to, it looks like, and there seem to be some people killed that aren't supposed to be killed. These are violent, if you call them leaders, I don't know if they're leaders or just they rule through violence. But we're looking at it very seriously. The military is looking at it, and we're looking at some very strong options. We'll make a determination.
Human rights groups report the regime has already massacred more than 500 people as protesters are defying the Ayatollah's crackdown. And there's an ongoing internet blackout in that country. The president says that he is getting an update. He's being briefed hour by hour, and he's actually meeting with the Secretary of State later this morning. Charlie?
Thank you, Aisha.
You got it.
Let's bring in Hudson Institute Senior Fellow Rebecca Heinrichs. Great to see you this morning, Rebecca. Thank you for joining us. So what do you think are the realistic options that are on the table right now for President Trump? And how effective do you think those options will be?
Well, good morning, Charlie. First of all, I think that when we're talking about this briefing that the president's going to receive on Tuesday that's been reported, our viewers should know that President Trump definitely already has options in mind, and he has been regularly briefed by the military about the situation there. So this briefing that's supposed to happen tomorrow might in fact be part of a deception campaign. It would not surprise me if President Trump initiated some kind of U.S. activity to support the protesters before that briefing. But the various things we can do, we can already conduct cyber attacks against regime targets to give some reprieve to the Iranian protesters. We can get Starlink in there with Elon Musk to make sure that the Iranians have the ability to communicate with one another during this blackout on the part of the regime. And the United States can initiate military strikes against IRGC, that's the military wing that's protecting the regime right now. We can conduct strikes against them, or we can go against other military targets, their ballistic missile program, their Iranian nuclear program, again, Charlie, again, as well. So there's various scoped options that the United States could take.
So on the Starlink thing, obviously we're seeing images from Iran that the government doesn't want us to see. And some of that is getting around the blackouts because of some limited Starlink activity. But there is talk of trying to expand that. How does that work exactly?
Well, right now, Charlie, it looks like there's some Starlink devices that are being smuggled into Iran.
Right.
What the U.S. government can do, though, is to basically get a more robust space-based capability that can cover the whole country, and we might be able to do some countermeasures against what the Iran regime is doing to take out that connectivity of satellite. Remember, the Chinese have been backing the Iran regime, so we're starting to notice some technology that seems pretty sophisticated that the Iran regime is using in order to try to counter the Starlink that has been smuggled into the country. So the United States is going to have to conduct two things: get those devices in for the Iranians, get it in the air, and then also do some counter cyber strikes against the Iran regime.
Right. Okay, I want to turn to this. Cuba remains defiant after President Trump's removal of Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela. President Trump posting to Truth Social, there will be no more oil or money going to Cuba. Zero. Strongly suggests they make a deal before it's too late. Cuban president responding thus: Cuba is a free, independent, and sovereign nation. Nobody dictates what we do. Cuba does not attack. It has been attacked by the U.S. for 66 years, and it does not threaten. It prepares, ready to defend the homeland to the last drop of blood. Are Cuba's days numbered?
Well, I think that they are. And, as the Cuban officials continue to mock President Trump and act like these threats aren't serious, or like the United States can't do exactly what he's threatening to do, they should look at some case studies in history, just recent history, of what President Trump has been willing to do. In 2018, you remember the Iran leader, Qasem Soleimani, mocked President Trump, and then he was eliminated by U.S. forces in Iraq. And then you saw Maduro, the illegal head of Venezuela, mocked President Trump during President Trump's threats, and then U.S. forces went in and arrested him. And now he sits in a jail in New York City. And so these Cuban officials, I think, should instead look to the Colombian leaders who mocked President Trump and now are changing their tune after seeing what President Trump has done in Venezuela. That would be good advice for the Cubans to take. Strike a deal with the United States.
You would think that they might start paying attention. And thank you very much for breaking that down for us. Rebecca Heinrichs.
We got Fox team coverage for you. Kicking off this hour, our chief foreign correspondent, Trey Yingst, live from Tel Aviv. But first, to our senior White House correspondent, Jackie Heinrich, live from the North Lawn. Any idea what President Trump has in mind?
No, John. And the press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, said only President Trump knows what he is going to do next. She also confirmed what he told reporters on Air Force One, that Iranian leaders called him looking to, quote, negotiate. He said a meeting right now is being set up, but also the U.S. might have to take some sort of action before that meeting because of what is happening. The exiled Iranian crown prince made this appeal to the president. Listen.
Mr. President, you have already established your legacy as a man committed to peace and fighting evil forces. There is a reason why people in Iran are renaming streets after your name. They know that you are totally opposite to Barack Obama or Joe Biden. They know that you're not going to throw them under the bus as they have had before. This is why they believe that this time they are empowered by the hope that you have their back.
Tomorrow, the president will reportedly look over a range of options for U.S. intervention, ranging from strikes to sanctions to anti-government propaganda and cyber attacks on military and civilian sites. He also said he's considering calling Elon Musk to get Starlink up over Iran.
Yeah, they need to.
We're looking at it very seriously. The military is looking at it, and we're looking at some very strong options. We'll make a determination. Some of the protesters were killed through the stampeding. There's so many of them, and some were shot. We get a full report. I'm getting an hourly report, and we're going to make a determination.
Some Democrats, like Senate Intelligence Committee Vice Chair Mark Warner, have warned against a kinetic strike, saying it might unite the Iranian people against the West in a way the regime has not been able to do. Warner also cautioned against more foreign intervention by the U.S., as President Trump has been joking Secretary of State Marco Rubio would become a good president for Cuba. He's also been doubling down on his pursuit of Greenland. The president reiterated once again that if the U.S. doesn't, quote, take Greenland, Russia or China will, and he is not going to let that happen. John.
All right. Jackie Heinrich kicking us out from the White House. Thanks, Jackie. Sandra?
Thanks.
Okay, the Iranian people are now entering their third week of anti-government protests there, and the regime's responded with a deadly crackdown. Chief foreign correspondent Trey Yingst is reporting live from Tel Aviv for us at this hour. Hi, Trey.
Sandra, good afternoon. Intense anti-government demonstrations across Iran over the weekend were met with a brutal crackdown. A source in Tehran speaking with Fox News via Starlink described security forces open firing into crowds of people, using tear gas and arresting thousands. Human rights organizations say at least 544 people have been killed over the past 2 weeks. With an ongoing internet shutdown, the confirmed number is expected to increase significantly. Today, thousands of pro-government demonstrators took to the streets of Tehran at the request of the country's leadership. The Speaker of Iran's parliament spoke to a crowd blaming President Trump for the protests.
اون 12 روز جنگ می‌خواست
President Trump addressing the increase in violence when he was asked about this on Air Force One. That shot there that you heard, you could hear the Speaker of Iran's parliament blaming the president himself for these demonstrations. Now, President Trump said that Iran has reached out and wants to talk. The president is reportedly weighing options about how to respond and support the demonstrators amid new threats from Iranian leaders about striking U.S. bases and Israel.
Well, if they do that, we'll consider things targets they wouldn't believe. If they do that, we will hit them at levels that they've never been hit before. They won't even believe it. I have options that are so strong. So, I mean, if they did that, it'll be met with a very, very powerful force.
Israeli officials are also closely monitoring the situation, with forces here on high alert. There are concerns that strikes could open a new war with Iran.
We all hope that the Persian nation will soon be freed from the yoke of tyranny. And when that day comes, Israel and Iran will once again be faithful partners in building a future of prosperity and peace for both peoples.
It's clear that American and Israeli officials are watching what's happening on the ground in Iran very closely. But as we move forward, you have to...
I mean, come on. Come on. It literally, they've been going through so much in the past year with the 12-day war and everything else. They're done. They're done, man. They're done playing games with this regime. I'm glad to see them standing up. I really hope, and I do really believe that the United States, they're probably already there. I'm sure they're already there. Hopefully we have boots on the ground. Something's going on right now. Hopefully, because them killing this many people is crazy. They do it every time.
Listen to what Iranian lawmakers are saying. Yesterday at the country's parliament, they chanted "Death to America." John, Sandra?
Wow, Trey Yingst live there in Tel Aviv on that for us. Trey, thank you.
Nazi Monyan was raised in Tehran. Her family fled to...
They're making their own hatred for the United States destroy their whole country and destroy their power that they have over their country and over the people. It's sickening.
The United States at the onset of the 1979 revolution that left this regime in power all of these years. She is an adjunct fellow at the Middle East Institute and holds a doctorate in Middle East studies as well. Nazi, very good to have you here.
Thanks for having me back.
What is your gut telling you about what is happening in the home country that you love, that I know you want to see restored to its own greatness? Do you believe this is actually...
I mean, this is one of the biggest protests I've ever seen. Massive. Literally, I had to check and make sure that a video wasn't AI earlier. Literally, I thought it was AI. Because it was just so many people, dude. And they all had their phones out with their flashes on. With their light on their phones. Everybody pointed towards the sky.
Really happening that the regime
They was trying to send a signal, man. They need help. They need help.
will fall at this point?
First of all, thank you for having me back, and thank you for continuing your focus on Iran. It's so important to get their messages out. I was born and raised in Tehran. My parents are from Shiraz. That Trey was just talking about, that the protesters are coming out. It's heart-wrenching. The videos are hard to watch, but I'm not at any level surprised of the brutality of this regime. And I keep asking myself, if this regime is readily opening fire on its own citizens and killing women, men, children randomly, just imagine what it could do and has done to others around the world, to people that don't fall in line in supporting the regime, in seeing eye to eye or trying to push back. This is an...
Freedom to Iran. Prayers out to y'all over there in Iran. You and everybody and their families, keep holding on. Keep doing what y'all doing. Keep doing what y'all doing.
International threat. The Islamic regime has been a thorn on the side of the American administration since inception for the past 47 years. And I think this is a defining moment where we can actually affect change.
So when you hear about these meetings with the National Security Team and President Trump, and you hear what he said in that video where he does not like what he's seeing, and he has said before that if they start killing people in the streets, and you hear him talk about the resources at hand, whether it be cyber or...
So like I said earlier, what I really think... My bad, y'all. Sorry about that. What I really think is, I think we're already in the process of actually going over there and actually lending a hand. We definitely need to lend a hand. I mean, there's too many Iranians getting killed because of this. It's crazy. They're literally massacring them in the street, like they're wild animals. So people don't even do wild animals like that, man. Like, seriously, come on now. This is just getting nuts, getting crazy. But look, y'all can see. Literally, I'm not even lying to y'all. I'll see if I can find the video for y'all. But I literally looked and I thought the video was AI. I literally did. It was so many people in the streets in the city.
Kinetic, we're not sure because he's meeting with his national security officials. What's your reaction to that when you hear the president of the United States talking that way? We haven't really heard that from prior presidents.
I think
so. I was looking on Flight Radar earlier too, y'all. We do have a lot of planes and stuff in the air that's going doing flybys and everything else. We had AWAC in the air around Iran, and I believe we had some drones, but I don't know where they went. So I'm not 100% sure if they was flying over Iran or what. But I lost them. They must have turned their sorry about that. Must turn his transponders off.
the president has a special affinity for the Iranian people. He's a businessman from New York City, and his domain has been real estate. And we have successful Iranians here in New York and across the nation that have been in touch with the president, have voiced their opinion. So when he says that the Iranians are special and they're business savvy and they're smart, he means it because he knows them. But aside from that, I think since the window of opportunity is closing, it's important for him to take action or make a decision on what's the next step. It seems like I'm ready, guns loaded and ready to go. That's a red line in foreign policy jargon. You know, if you say that, you have to act. Mm-hmm. But knowing the president and judging by the way he's conducted foreign policy, he's giving himself all kinds of options how to enforce this red line. I actually think that his offer to talk is one such option, because I was here sitting a few days after June 12th or saying that how could the president attack Iran a few days before the ultimatum started. If you remember, he was supposed to wait until Sunday, but on Friday he attacked.
He likes the element of surprise.
He does like the element of surprise.
And I think you're so right that the words that he's saying now around all of this, I think signal that he is considering all options. He will act when he is ready.
Yes.
And not before. And he doesn't want to to convey exactly what he's going to do. It keeps them, the regime.
Well, we definitely need to go. We are ready to roll. I have a cousin that's in the military. Confirmation that they are being deployed. So I'm not sure if they're being deployed there now, but I have confirmation that they are being deployed. So let's go, Iran. About time they get some freedom. About time they actually get some clarity and some be able to actually afford bread. They can't even afford bread right now to put on the table.
On edge. They don't really know.
And he's not the kind of leader that likes his hands forced. So obviously he's going to do it, and he's going to do it at the time that he thinks is the right time. This is the right time. If you ask any Iran observer, the people that have reached out to me and my colleagues, please help us. You know, we're getting slaughtered. The unofficial death row rate is at 3,000, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's even more than that, because as you said, people are walking around the morgue and looking into body bags trying to identify their loved ones, and it sends chill down your spine. That's all more so the reason that we should never trust this regime, that we should go all in, and we should heed the call of Iranian people for change.
Before I let you go, just quickly, if you can, is Russia going to come to their aid? Is China going to find a way to support the regime?
So this is the magic of this moment. Russia is embroiled in its own war, and they're distracted, and they want their resources to fight Ukraine, unfortunately, another war that should have never happened. China has the strategic patience. They have the long view. They want to see where trade options are, whether it's Iran now and maybe not Iran, and then it could be Venezuela when it's free. And if it's not Venezuela, by the way, it's not going to be Venezuela, because that was the reason Mr. President took over the Venezuelan oil, to deprive the enemy from the oil. But, you know, also China is keeping their options open, but their calculus is always on the trade. I want to open the aperture a little bit on this discussion, Martha. This is a war between Islamism and nationalism. This is a war between the people who want power and are ready to do anything to hold on to it, and the people who love Iran. At the moment, it looks like the people who want power, the Islamic regime, has the upper hand. But that's not going to stay that way if the United States tries to or stands resolutely in defense of Iranian people.
Well, we know you're in touch with a lot of people on the ground and have a unique ear to the real situation. So, Nazi, thank you.
Thank you for having
Nazi
me.
for joining us.
Wow, something new. With us now is Rebecca Grant, national security and military analyst and senior fellow at the Lexington Institute. So the president said yesterday aboard Air Force One that Iran is crossing the red line that he laid down. Unlike Barack Obama, it's expected that if that red
So I have some more video for y'all. We'll pull it up here on the...
Widespread unrest, killings and arrests in Iran during protests sparked by a collapse in the local currency. The leadership says it will listen to demonstrators, but rioters face the death penalty as the US warns against the crackdown. How volatile is the situation? This is Inside Story. Strike.
Burning bright across Iran. 2 weeks of demonstrations against soaring inflation and a plunging currency have spiraled into the worst unrest the country has seen in 3 years. Anti-government protests began in the capital and spread to dozens of other towns and cities, including Qom, Iran's second holiest city, and Mashhad, the birthplace of the supreme leader. A crackdown by security forces followed. Most internet and telecommunications services have been cut since Thursday. The Attorney General is warning anyone involved in the protests could face the death penalty. Dozens of civilians and security officials have reportedly been killed. Rights groups say more than 2,500 people have been arrested. Iran's supreme leader accuses them of acting on behalf of the U.S. president.
He claims to be on the side of the Iranian people. He is irresponsible. He does not care about civilians. Those protesters could believe him. They burn waste bins just to please him.
Donald Trump has repeatedly threatened to intervene and warned Tehran not to use force against demonstrators, or the U.S. will hit Iran where it hurts. The government says it will strike Israel and American bases in the region if the U.S. attacks. The defiance shown at rallies.
Yo, hey, look. I gotta show you something. Oh, man. Yo, you see homeboy right here where my mouse is at? Yo, he look like he don't want to be there or don't want to chant that at all.
In the region if the U.S. attacks. The defiance shown at rallies, despite threats of severe consequences, reflects the extent of the discontent, according to one Iranian academic.
Demonstrations were held because of the worsening of the economic situation in the country, and it's understandable majority of Iranians were frustrated with the worsening of their economics, but with the events turning into more sort of violent developments, demonstrations.
Hey, look, you know, things are getting crazy, man. Things are getting crazy. Things are looking up for the Iranians, though. Keep up the protest, y'all. You know, try to stay as safe as y'all can. Prayers out to y'all. Hopefully y'all can see light at the tunnel so far. But I want to do a big shout out to the new subscribers. I also want to do a big shout out to the troops. Thank y'all for everything that you do. I want to do a big shout out to Trump. Thank you, Donald J. Trump. For giving the Iranian people the courage to do this. The steps that you've taken led to this moment. And they needed it. It's like a breath of fresh air, you know? But it's a lot to take in, especially when you see crowds like this, and literally they're walking for hope. The United States definitely needs to deliver. They stood up because they thought they had somebody that is going to stand behind them. So let's stand behind them and let's give them a hand. Let's get that regime out of there. I mean, they're sitting there killing women, children, and it's not right. And now they got militias out there now, literally shooting people in the streets. Over 500 dead, confirmed. Protesters dead. 2 Iraqi officials are dead. It's definitely getting a little crazy. But, I'm going to go and do some more research for y'all, see what's going on, see what else is going on with this. I want to do and see if we have moved any of our ships and everything else close to Iran. I'm going to go do some research. I'm going to pop back on here just a little bit. Make sure y'all keep an eye out. And I'll see y'all soon. Make sure y'all hit the subscribe button too. I forgot to say that. And thank you, troops, again as well.